racing. Welcome to our coverage of round number 1 of the Africa Off-Road Championship Racing Series, brought to you by N1 4x4 Cruiser and Toyota, 4-wheel drive experts, and new on board for 2018, Pirelli tyres joining us for the ride. Round number 1 going to be an exciting start to a 12-round series of the championship. Last year at the final round, everyone was in it to win it, and they were out there for the lineups to see where they were going to qualify for the queue. Some great late season rain means that this round number 1 was going to be an absolute humdinger of a race to kick off what will bound to be an incredibly busy and exciting 2018 race series. Huge numbers like we saw at the end of last year, and that's really just carried on the trend forward into round number 1 of 2018. Bigger backup from Pirelli, bigger backup from N1 4x4 specialists, and bigger backup from our medics, meaning that we were going to see huge entries from the first race of the series. As always, it was going to be concentrating on the kids and the motorbikes before we went into the afternoon racing session for the cars. The Kiddies race was the first thing to kick things off, a small entry this time around, but as always, everyone was going to be right there just next to the main car park and the main DSP area for the kids' time to go out and shine before it was time to get serious for the moms and dads on the bikes, senior quads, and the cars.
This is my eerste bike race.
I'm Etienne van der Heerden. I'm going to be riding bike number 69, which is actually my good buddy here, Ruben Kaywood's bike, and I'm just looking forward to my first event. Hi, I'm Franco Ferri. I'm bike number 15 here at Hartbeesfontein, and I'm looking forward to this first race of the season.
Hello, my name is
Hi, I'm Johan van Motte. I'm here at Hartbeesfontein. I'm 8 years old, and I'm looking forward to a great day of riding. So the kids have been prepped in the pits, most of them sleeping in their kit and their new boots ready for the 2018 season, and everyone out good to go to get ready to go out for the race. Expected to run in the high 20s, maybe low 30s come the end of the race. Very grassland style of track laid out this time around. At the end of last year, it was a lot of mud and sand for the kids to deal with. This time, it was going to be natural terrain, which was going to be a little bit more testing and challenging. The Ferreira brothers of João Paulo and Julio, João Paulo running the 450 number and Julio running the 40, were going to be the riders to beat. They showed early morning pace, and it was going to be up to everyone else to do the chase down. The number 12 of Johan van Mokte, we caught up with him in the pits a little bit earlier on, and he was going to be able to try and squeak his way inside of a top 5 finish overall. Franco Ferri, Colin Versaki, Caitlin van der Merwe, Etienne van der Heerden, and Ruben Kaywood would be the rest of the riders, 8 lining up all in all to try and walk away with the highest finishes. Colin Versaki, who's a rider that does prefer to go out in the sand terrain, still trying to find his feet on the natural terrain. Very, very difficult conditions with a little bit of overnight rain. And it was only around about lap 4 or 5 where the track started to rut up for the kids and find some hold. Those first 3 or 4 laps, very tricky conditions before the kids got themselves into lock and load position. Early on, it was a big switch up between the 450 and the 40 of the Ferreira brothers, and they would eventually go on and try and break away and extend. They were running around about a half a second a lap faster than the rest, and they kept up that consistency to eventually pull a big lead over the rest of the riders. Caitlin van der Merwe on the 401, one of the smaller CC Honda machines, was locked in a nice dice with Johan van Motte, and they would be challenging for 4th and 5th place come the end of the kids' event. The ever consistent Etienne van Heerden, remember he was actually on a borrowed bike, he was actually on Ruben Kaywood's bike, the 69 machine, so the first couple of laps was about him all getting used to the new equipment underneath him. Franco Ferri would eventually finish just off the box in a number 4 spot, going on to finish 20 laps all in all, on a pit bike format of machine, just running the 10-inch wheels as well. Not a super technical track though, so it wasn't all about horsepower, it was more about the handling of the bikes and how comfortable you were out there. By the halfway marker, João Paulo Ferreira had started to show his dominance as he started to tick the box and extend away not only from his competitors, but as well as his brother, the number 40 of Julio Ferreira, eventually finishing 2 laps back come the end of the day. The 450 of João Paulo Ferreira, definitely a talent to watch out for in the future, and he was just munching up the back markers as he came towards the close of the race. Everyone else starting to just tick off their boxes, falling a couple of laps down, but at the end of the day, it was going to be all about the Ferreira brothers running 30 and 28 laps respectively. The lowest laps coming in from the number 69 of Etienne van Heerden. Unfortunately, did not start for Ruben Kaywood, so he was a no-show on the event. So laps ranging from 6 all the way to 30, and it was the magical 30 laps that gave the big win to João Paulo Ferreira. On the quad side of things, it was an interesting lineup. Carlos Scholz and Ulrich Fourie would be going at it in the quads, and in the cars, Devin Renneker and Kwaka Olafia, always the pair to beat. Unfortunately, having problems on lap number 1 and gifting the win early on to Janko and Zian van Aert. They would go on in the 63 machine to complete 22 laps all in all. Carlos Scholz, very, very tasty rider on a bike that's a little bit too big for her, but she showed her class, eventually going on and competing and completing 24 laps ahead of the 21 laps of Ulrich Fourie. So with Devin Renneker and Kwaka Olafia unfortunately falling out and not even completing the first lap, that left the door wide open for Janko and Zian van Aert. They were running number 2 spots the whole way through 2017, so it was going to be awesome for the kids on a constantly developing machine on the 63 to try and walk away with their first victory of the year. It was in the bag from lap number 1. Shots here of Devin Renneker and Kwaka Olafia unfortunately having clutch and gearbox problems, forcing them to the sidelines, and there would be reluctant spectators for the rest of the Kiddies race, leaving it all up to Janko and Zian van Aert to walk away with 22 victories, even though with a little bit of helping hand from mums and dads and supporters on the sideline. On the quad side, Ulrich Fourie managed to get a number 21 laps under his belt, just falling 3 laps short of Carlos Scholz. And Kyla, a talent for the future, somehow managing to hang on to the big beast of a quad. I know what mum and dad did there. She'll grow into it. Yeah, you're right, but not at this race. Still, she was the class of the field in the kids' quads event. And everyone was just watching for all those tags. A shopping list of laps. Eventually 24 laps for the win for Carlos Scholz, ahead of 21 laps for Ulrich Fourie. And Janko and Zian van Aert, the big win and the only finishers in the kids' cars with 22 laps to their name. Here's confirmation of the results then coming out of the kids' race before we move ourselves forward. Hartbeesfontein, the first win of the year, goes to João Paulo Ferreira, ahead of his brother Julio Ferreira, and Colin Fasaki, 3rd place on 24 laps. In the kids' quads, Carlos Scholz, a new name at the top of the charts, ahead of Ulrich Fourie, and Janko and Zian van Aert taking the win, 22 laps, the first of the kids' car victories for 2018. Watch out, because after the break, we're picking up on all the junior quad and bike, as well as senior bike racing action.